Jagged limestone peaks piercing through cotton candy clouds, alpine meadows carpeted with wildflowers stretching toward the horizon, and charming mountain villages that seem frozen in time. Welcome to the Italian Dolomites. This UNESCO World Heritage Site in northern Italy offers a mesmerizing blend of dramatic landscape, rich cultural heritage, and outdoor adventures that will leave you breathless in more ways than one. In this video, I'll show you my unforgettable 4-day journey with my mom across this mountain paradise. We'll wind our way from Lake Como through picturesque villages like Val Gardenia, hike across Europe's largest alpine meadow at Alpe di Siusi, and experience the unique trilingual culture where Italian, German, and the ancient Latin influences converge. From misty morning viewpoints near Ortisei to the emerald waters of Lago di Braies, I'll share every step of this mother-daughter adventure. So whether you're a photography enthusiast hoping to capture the iconic church of St. Magdalena, an outdoor lover seeking panoramic alpine views, or someone fulfilling a long-held dream of seeing these magnificent mountains, this guide will help you plan your own perfect Dolomites itinerary. And if you're new here, welcome to my channel, The Scenic Art Traveler. I'm Erin, and my passion is discovering breathtaking landscape one scenic route at a time, then sharing these authentic experiences with fellow travelers like you. And just like that, we're saying goodbye to Lake Como, packing up our little rental car for the next stop on our European adventure. This whole mother-daughter trip has been such a special experience, but I think my mom is most excited about where we're heading next. The Dolomites have been on her bucket list for forever. After a few hours of these stunning winding roads, we've made it to Mono. It's this tiny mountain town that you won't find in most guidebooks, which honestly makes it even more perfect. We're staying just one night here before heading deeper into the Dolomites tomorrow. Once we got here, we dropped off our bags and we're headed to explore more of the town. I'm absolutely loving the narrow cobblestone streets. Everywhere you look, there's another charming detail. These traditional stone houses with their wooden balconies, all the colorful flowers spilling from the window boxes, and listen, those church bells echoing through the valley, it feels like we've stepped back in time. The cool thing about exploring this area is seeing how Italian and Alpine cultures blend together. You can spot them in the architecture as we walk around. Some buildings have that classic Italian style, where others have these distinct Alpine features like the steep rooflines and decorative woodwork. We stumble upon this old parish church while wandering around. And as the sun starts to set, the mountains are turning this incredible shade of pink. Now I can see exactly why my mom has been dreaming about visiting this place for so long. There's something magical about it. Tomorrow we'll be heading right into the heart of the Dolomites, but I'm so glad we got to spend tonight in this perfect little mountain town, getting our first taste of what's to come. Good morning from Mono. The sun is just peeking over the mountains as we pack our car for the next leg of our Dolomites adventure. My mom already has her coffee in hand and is buzzing with excitement and ready to hit the road again. After a peaceful night in this charming mountain town, we're headed deeper into the heart of the Dolomites today. Our destination? The legendary Alpe di Siusi, which is Europe's largest high alpine meadow and one of the most iconic landscapes in the entire region. The drive itself is part of the experience here. Every turn reveals another postcard-worthy view, and we're constantly pulling over at viewpoints just to take it all in.
We've officially made it to the Dolomites in Italy. We have driven the last couple of hours from our Airbnb that we stayed at last night. It was about halfway from Lake Como, and we kind of went through the northern route up to the Dolomites, and we're going to be staying near Ortisei for tonight and checking it out.
Now, as we get closer to our destination of Alpe di Siusi, this next part is very important information for anyone planning to visit. Private vehicle access to Alpe di Siusi is heavily restricted to protect the delicate ecosystem. You're only allowed to drive up between 5 and 9 a.m. and 5 and 7 p.m. And only if you have a reservation at one of the hotels on the plateau. Otherwise, you'll need to take the cable car from Siusi or the gondola from Ortisei. We timed our arrival carefully to make sure we could drive up to our hotel. We've made it to our accommodation right near the visitor center on the plateau. And the location couldn't be more perfect. From here, we can access all the best hiking trails without needing to use our car again until we leave. My mom and I have agreed that after a long drive, there's no better way to stretch our legs than to go straight on a hike to see the famous Alpe di Siusi panorama. The great thing about Alpe di Siusi is that it offers trails for every ability level. We're taking the panoramic path that starts right from the visitor center. It's well marked with these red and white trailblazes you'll see throughout the Dolomites. So what you're seeing all around us is the largest high alpine meadow in Europe, over 23 square kilometers of rolling pastures sitting about 1,800 meters above sea level. These meadows have been carefully maintained for centuries by local farmers who still bring their cattle up here during the summer months. It's a perfect example of how humans and nature can coexist in a sustainable way. So as we climb higher on our trail, the iconic peaks of the Dolomites start to reveal themselves. That dramatic formation in the distance is the Sassalonga Group, and beyond it, you can just make out the Sella Group and the Marmolada Glacier. So we've reached one of the best panoramic views on this trail, and honestly, photos just don't do it justice. One thing that makes sharing this experience with my mom so special is seeing her reaction to the views like this. We had traveled together before, but there's something about the Dolomites that seemed to hit differently. Maybe it's because she's waited so long to see them, or maybe it's just the sheer scale of this landscape that puts everything into perspective. For family or those with limited mobility, there are several accessible paths with minimal elevation gain that still offer spectacular views. And if you're visiting in winter, this whole area transforms into one of Europe's most beautiful ski resorts. So as we make our way back to the hotel, the late afternoon light is turning the limestone peaks that golden color that the Dolomites are famous for. After our incredible hike across Alpe di Siusi, we decided to explore the nearby town of Ortisei. You'll notice beautiful wood sculptures and artisanal shops throughout the pedestrian center. The distinctive Tyrolean architecture with painted facades and wooden balcony gives you that perfect alpine village atmosphere. And as twilight settled over the mountains, the town took on this magical quality with lights reflecting on the cobblestone streets. We wandered through the central pedestrian zone, checking out local shops and admiring the perfect blend of Italian style and Austrian precision that defines this border region. Ortisei was the perfect place to end our day before heading back up to our mountain accommodation. One important tip if you're planning your own Dolomites adventure and coming to this part of the Dolomites is to try to include Seceda in your itinerary. Unfortunately, during our visit in late May, the cable car system wasn't yet operating for the summer season. The cable car typically operates from late June through October for the summer season, and then again during winter for skiing. Day 3 in the Dolomites greeted us with misty clouds and light rain showers, but we weren't about to let a little weather dampen our spirits. Sometimes the mountains are even more dramatic when partially shrouded in clouds. So we decided to take advantage of the moody weather by doing a scenic drive around the viewpoints near Ortisei. There is something magical about the Dolomites in the rain. The moisture brings out these rich, earthy colors in the landscape and creates this mystical atmosphere as clouds dance between the peaks. One benefit of exploring on a rainy morning, we had most viewpoints completely to ourselves. So if you're visiting the Dolomites during peak season, these rainy moments offer a peaceful respite from the summer crowds. By mid-morning, the weather began to clear up as we made our way to Zalmser Alm in Puez Geisler Nature Park. This area offers some of the most accessible and rewarding hiking in the entire region. But before heading out, we stopped at the visitor center to check trail conditions. This is something I highly recommend regardless of the season. Local rangers can provide invaluable advice about which paths are currently at their best and warn you of any sections that might be slippery after rain. The trail system here is incredibly well maintained with clear markings throughout. We opted for a moderate loop that would showcase the valley's highlights without being too strenuous. One thing I love about hiking in the Dolomites is how they design their trail networks. There are options for every ability level that offer spectacular scenery. So as we climbed higher on this route, the landscapes kept getting more impressive. The unique geology of the Dolomites creates these dramatic vertical walls that seem to defy gravity. My mom kept stopping to identify the wildflowers. The alpine meadows here host over 1,500 plant species, many of them found nowhere else on Earth. After our hike, we drove to one of the most photographed spots in the entire Dolomites region, the viewpoint overlooking the Church of St. John in Renewey. This white church, sets against the backdrop of the Geisler Odell mountain group, has become an iconic Dolomites image. You'll find this spot in countless travel guides and Instagram feeds, but seeing it in person still takes your breath away. The church dates back to the 18th century and sits in this perfectly framed clearing with these dramatic peaks rising behind it. A quick photographer's tip: this spot gets very busy during golden hour, so either come early in the morning or be prepared to wait your turn for the perfect spot. It's also worth noting that the church is on private property, so you should admire and photograph it from the designated viewing areas only, respecting the boundaries that protect this special place. So just a short drive from St. John's Church is another legendary Dolomites vista, the viewpoint overlooking the village of St. Magdalena, which is the kind of view that stays with you forever. And the great thing about this viewpoint is that it's accessible via a short, easy walk from the parking area, making it perfect for travelers of all abilities. So as we set out on the path, I could sense my mom's excitement building. She had a picture of this exact view as her computer background for years, and now she's about to see it in person.
And we started our day in Alpe di Siusi. Don't quote me if that's how you pronounce it. We're waiting for the rain to stop a little bit, and then we headed to Ortisei to check it out and see the area. Did a little bit of the Gardenia pass and then turned around because it was a little cloudy. And then we've just been near St. Magdalene, seeing the different beautiful viewpoints here as well.
The trail winds through Alpine meadows dotted with traditional wooden barns. These structures, called stadel, have been used by local farmers for centuries to store hay and tools. So then all of a sudden, you come up to this viewpoint before you. The tiny clusters of houses and church spires that make up St. Magdalena village. They are perfectly nestled at the foot of these iconic jagged peaks. The scale is almost impossible to comprehend. Those massive mountain dwarfings the human elements below. We stood there for nearly an hour watching how the changing light transformed the scene. My mom kept saying, "I can't believe I'm finally seeing this with my own eyes." It's a moment like this that makes all the planning, the long flights, the early mornings worthwhile. So if you plan to visit only one viewpoint in the Dolomites, make it this one. There's a reason it's appeared on countless postcards and travel magazines.
This view in the Dolomites in Italy, in St. Magdalene, is probably one of the most beautiful that we've seen while we're here, with the mountains in the background, the rolling hills, and all of the beautiful homes. I highly recommend coming here when you come to the Dolomites.
Good morning from day 4 of our Dolomites adventure. After that incredible afternoon at St. Magdalena yesterday, we drove to our accommodation at Almutz Hotel Lens, tucked away in the perfect Alpine setting. Waking up to these mountain views is something I could definitely get used to. There's nothing quite like opening your curtains and being greeted by the pink Alpine glow on limestone peaks. My mom and I have developed this little morning ritual of coffee on the balcony, planning our day while watching the mountains change colors. And one thing I've learned about traveling with my mom, she's always up before sunrise and eager to start her day. But in a place like this, it's impossible to mind those early wake-up calls.
We have stayed at the cutest hotel. I'll put the link in the description because I highly recommend it. Dinner was a 5-course meal was included, as well as breakfast. The facilities are really stunning and it's a really great price too. But today we are headed to Lago di Braies and the Tre Cime area to do some hiking and kind of also checking out some things in between in this part of the Italian Dolomites.
So we've officially made it to Lago di Braies, arguably the most photographed lake in the entire Dolomites. And I have to say, even with all that hype, it does not disappoint. The lake sits at almost 1,500 meters above sea level, surrounded by these imposing mountain peaks. That distinctive green-blue color comes from the minerals in the glacier water, and it shifts throughout the day depending on the light. If you're planning to visit, here's a crucial tip. Arrive early. We got here at about 9 a.m. and the parking lot was already starting to fill up. And during peak summer months, they actually restrict vehicle access after the lots are full, and then you'll need to take a shuttle bus instead. So these iconic wooden boats that you're seeing have made Lago di Braies famous on social media. You can rent them by the hour, but they're quite popular, so expect to wait if you come later in the day. We opted to enjoy the lake by walking the full loop trail instead. The loop around Lago di Braies is about 3.5 kilometers and takes roughly an hour and a half if you're stopping for photos, which, let's be honest, it is impossible not to do here. The path varies from easy wooden boardwalks to slightly rockier sections on the far side, but it's manageable for most fitness levels. What I love about this lake is how the scenery transforms as you make your way around. The north side gives you these dramatic mountain reflections, while the eastern shore offers more intimate forest views. My mom kept pointing out how the watercolor changes from emerald to turquoise depending on your vantage point. Overall, my advice: take your time with this trail loop. Bring water and sunscreen even on cloudy days, and make sure to venture to the far side of the lake where fewer visitors go. The crowd tends to stay near the boathouse, but the entire circuit offers beautiful perspectives worth experiencing.
So we've made it near Tre Cime, but have realized that the road all the way up to the trailhead is closed still for the season because we are here. It's about May 29th or May 30th. So apparently it is not quite open for cars to drive through. So we're walking the road instead of driving it and kind of see how far we get to try to see the trailhead of Tre Cime.
After we finished up at Lago di Braies, we headed toward what was supposed to be one of the highlights of our trip, the famous Tre Cime di Lavaredo circuit. But as we've learned throughout our travels, sometimes plans need to adapt to circumstances. When we arrived at the road heading up to the trailhead, we discovered the road to Refugio Aranzo, which is normally the starting point for the Tre Cime hike, was closed for the season. This is something to keep in mind if you're visiting in late May or early June like we were. Many high-altitude roads don't open till mid-May or depending on snow conditions. So rather than abandoning our plans entirely, we decided to park at Chalet Lago and Torno and walk up the closed road to reach the trailhead, which was also the popular decision of others that day as well. So the road climbs steadily for about 7 kilometers with roughly 500 meters of elevation gain. So without any vehicles, it does become this peaceful winding path through Alpine terrain. The views opening up around each bend made the extra effort completely worthwhile. My mom and I found ourselves enjoying this detour, having the road entirely to ourselves except for a few other determined hikers and some maintenance vehicles. It's a reminder that sometimes the unplanned moments become the most memorable or scenic parts of a trip. About halfway up, we started getting our first glimpse of the iconic 3 peaks that make Tre Cime so famous. These 3 distinct stone towers have been a symbol of the Dolomites for generations. After a few hours of steady uphill walking, we reached Refugio Aranzo at 2,300 meters of elevation, where the traditional circuit hike would normally begin. The Refugio wasn't yet open for the season, but we had packed our own water and snacks, so we were well prepared. From here, we were able to walk a small portion of the actual Tre Cime circuit, enough to get these incredible close-up views of the towering peaks. Even though we couldn't complete the full circuit due to time constraints, the views were absolutely worth every step. If you're visiting outside peak seasons like we did, always check road conditions before setting out. The whole hike up, my mom kept saying this was actually more special, earning those views step by step. On our drive back, we made one final stop at the famous viewpoint overlooking Lago di Misurina. This alpine lake sits at over 1,700 meters above sea level and has often been called the Pearl of the Dolomites. Standing here, taking in one last breathtaking Dolomites vista with my mom, I felt immensely grateful for these past few days of adventure. From here, we drove a few more hours to our final accommodation in the Dolomites region. And even though our Dolomites adventure does come to a close, I hope this 4-day adventure has given you a glimpse into what makes this mountain range so extraordinary. From the rolling meadows of Alpe di Siusi to the jagged peaks of Tre Cime, the Dolomites offer some of Europe's most dramatic landscapes, all within a relatively compact area. If you're planning your own Dolomites itinerary, here are a few final thoughts to keep in mind. First, consider visiting in shoulder season like we did if you prefer fewer crowds, but be prepared for some seasonal closures at higher elevations. The Dolomites truly reward flexibility and spontaneity. Second, renting a car is almost essential for exploring this region efficiently. Mountain roads are well maintained but winding, so allow extra time between destinations and don't forget to factor in those irresistible photo stops. This trip was so especially meaningful as it fulfilled my mom's long-term dream of experiencing these mountains. There's something profound about sharing these bucket list moments with someone you love, watching their face light up as they finally see in person what they've imagined for so long. So thank you for coming along our Dolomites journey. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more travel adventures, and let me know in the comments which part of the Dolomites you'd like to visit most. And until next time, happy travels.